Is obsession worth it? The thin line between success and burnout. We live in an era where algorithms reward us for being productive, consistent, and intense. But in the middle of so many demands, a question starts to emerge, one that everyone feels, but almost no one has the courage to ask. Is it really possible to build a truly extraordinary life without being obsessive? Or does every real success, that high level, out of the ordinary kind of success, require extreme sacrifice, sleepless nights, painful trade-offs, and an almost fanatical level of dedication? This video is a deep and maybe slightly uncomfortable reflection on real self-development, burnout, discipline, and the limits of the high-performance mindset. We're going to talk about giants like Mr. Beast, Jocko Willink, Brené Brown, and Naval Ravikant, all featured in the book Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss, a modern Bible on what it means to live an extraordinary life. Obsession as a path. Many people believe that to stand out, you need to be obsessed, and in part, that's not wrong. Obsession is a powerful force when it's consciously directed. It can be what separates someone who only dreams from someone who actually makes it happen. But here's the problem. Obsession, when not balanced, comes with a high cost: physical, mental, and emotional. Burnout, emotional exhaustion, and that hollow feeling are becoming more and more common among people who have supposedly made it in life. So where do we draw the line? When does discipline turn into a prison? When does self-improvement turn into self-destruction? What is burnout and how it begins? Burnout doesn't come only from working too much. It comes from too much pressure without meaning. You can work 12 hours a day and feel fulfilled, or work 6 and feel crushed. Why? Because burnout is your body saying, I've stopped cooperating with goals that never include me. You're on autopilot. You don't rest. You just deliver. And you blame yourself for not being even better. At that point, you're no longer growing. You're pushing yourself to meet a social or internal expectation that might never have been yours in the first place. Can obsession be virtuous? It can, but it depends on the fuel. If your obsession comes from fear, guilt, comparison, or anxiety, burnout. If it comes from fascination, purpose, mission, and curiosity, transformation. It's not about how much you dedicate yourself, it's about why you dedicate yourself. The Mr. Beast case, productive obsession. Let's take the example of Mr. Beast, probably the biggest content creator of our time, a YouTube billionaire. And what few people know is that his success isn't luck, it's strategic obsession. For years, he studied YouTube like a scientist. He watched videos from other creators, stopped at the 7-second mark to understand the pacing, took notes on thumbnail patterns, and trained his mind to guess how many views a video would get just by reading the title. He used random word generators to spark ideas. He had insights during lucid dreams. He spent 1 hour a day, every day for years, just studying. Is that obsession? Yes. Is that radical self-improvement? Also, yes. But even Mr. Beast himself has admitted, my mental health was never a priority. That sentence, coming from someone who achieved everything most people dream of, is a warning, because it's not enough to achieve. You have to stay whole along the way. Tools of Titans. What do the giants do differently? In Tools of Titans, Tim Ferriss interviews some of the most successful people in the world. Entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, philosophers, investors. And what he shows is that there are many paths to excellence, and that not all of them require self-destruction. Let's take a look at 3 of these extraordinary cases. 1. Jocko Willink, discipline as freedom. Jocko Willink is a former U.S. Navy SEAL commander, a man who has faced chaos up close and learned how to build order within it. His life follows a strict code. Wake up at 4:30 a.m., train, study, create, lead. Every day, no exceptions. To most people, this sounds like a self-imposed prison, but for him, it's the opposite. It's freedom. Discipline equals freedom. It's not just a catchy phrase, it's the philosophy that shaped his entire life. Jocko learned early on that freedom doesn't come from comfort, but from control. Control over your impulses, your time, and your emotions. In war, discipline means survival. In life, it means sovereignty. Through years of military service, he discovered that chaos is inevitable, but surrendering to it is a choice. Every cold morning, every hard workout, every silent hour before sunrise, none of these are punishments. They're proof. Proof that he decides not the world. But here's the point. Jocko was trained to operate in extremes. The average person doesn't need to live like a soldier. What matters isn't copying his routine. It's understanding the principle behind it. Because maybe you don't need to wake up at 4:30 a.m., but maybe you need to stop postponing what you already know you have to do. In the end, discipline isn't rigidity. It's the ability to reclaim authorship over your own life. 2. Brené Brown, The Courage of Vulnerability. While Jocko represents strength, Brené Brown represents surrender. A researcher and professor at the University of Houston, Brené has spent more than 20 years studying vulnerability, shame, and courage. Topics most people avoid, but that define who we truly are. Her perspective is almost the opposite of hustle culture, the work while they sleep mentality. For her, sustainable success doesn't come from resistance, but from connection, from knowing when to rest, from setting clear boundaries, from living with purpose, not fear. In her research, Brené found that the most fulfilled people weren't the ones who had everything under control, but the ones who had the courage to be imperfect, to admit they can't handle everything, to let themselves be seen, even when they don't have all the answers. What she reveals is that true self-development is internal. That obsession isn't always the same as commitment. Sometimes obsession is just fear disguised as productivity. The fear of not being enough, not being admired, not being worthy. Brené reminds us that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the place where strength becomes human and where success stops being a performance and becomes presence. 3. Naval Ravikant, The Wisdom of Balance. If Jocko represents discipline and Brené represents surrender, Naval Ravikant represents balance. An entrepreneur, investor, and modern thinker, Naval is known for turning complex ideas about success, freedom, and happiness into simple yet deeply human principles. Founder of AngelList and an early investor in companies like Twitter and Uber, he achieved everything the world calls success. But unlike many, he didn't stop there. After reaching wealth, status, and recognition, Naval realized something unsettling. True freedom isn't about having everything. It's about not needing everything. He talks about the importance of wealth, yes, but he always places peace of mind above accumulation. For Naval, success without serenity is just another kind of prison. While the world runs in pursuit of more, he teaches us to seek enough. While many believe happiness comes from control, he shows that it's born from acceptance. His philosophy blends Stoicism, Buddhism, and technology, but at its core, what Naval teaches is timeless. You don't have to choose between ambition and peace. You just have to learn how to balance both. And maybe that's the common thread among all the giants. Jocko seeks freedom through discipline. Brené finds strength in vulnerability. And Naval shows that true mastery lies in the center, where the pursuit of success meets the love for life. And what about us, ordinary people? Maybe you'll never have Mr. Beast's energy, or Jocko's discipline, Brené's sensitivity, or Naval's calm, and that's okay. You don't need to be them. You just need to be your best version, sustainable, real, and aware. So we return to the first question. Is it possible to live an extraordinary life without being obsessive? Yes, but it depends on what extraordinary means to you. If extraordinary means peace, balance, impact, creativity, then yes. But if it means constantly proving something, maybe it's time to rethink what's driving you. The world doesn't need more productivity machines. The world needs people who are alive, conscious, at peace, people who choose success without losing their soul along the way. That's what real self-development is about. Building a life you don't need to escape from, not even while you're creating it. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who's also trying to find themselves in this path between excellence and exhaustion, and let me know in the comments which philosophy or which person from this video spoke to you the most. See you next time.